guys, what's up? It's Dan Weimerger here, CEO of Morpheus.Network. I got some really awesome AMA questions that came to me. Excited to create this video for you guys. It's right in the middle of the holiday season. For me, I don't know when this is going to air, but Christmas just ended. We're just before New Year's. So that great holiday spirit. It's been a great time with the family. I'm looking forward to answering some great questions for the community out there. So question one, could you please introduce yourself? Give some brief insight into my individual backgrounds. So like I said, my name is Dan Weinberger. My history is actually in supply chain. I've been working in supply chain, running a business for close to 20 years now, shipping goods inside and outside of Canada, dealing with countries all around the world, primarily with the United States and China, India, South America, Europe. Now, all the experience that I've gained dealing with all these different supply chains for so much time, I've now put into this platform, the supply chain automation platform, which is Morpheus.Network. My partner with Morpheus is Noah Meppel. He is the COO of the company, and he has as much experience in technology as I do in supply chain. So we sort of married our experiences together. And now we have a great time working on this project. We've now grown up the project after a few years with some great team members. Carl McDermott, the head of business development, Ben Smith as well, working in business development with some great developers, Yesh and Vishal, and a whole great team around us. So really fantastic working with a good friend, but building a great team around us. All these different experts that we have on the team, as well as different partners we have around the world. I'm sure we'll talk about them more during these AMA questions. So just a brief background on myself. And myself and Noam both live in Southern Ontario in Canada, born and raised as Canadians. We've been actually friends since nursery school, since we were 3 years old. So a 37-year friendship, which continues very strongly today, of course. So, all right, next question. So how do MRPH, let's say VChain, differ in a way to interact with supply chain? Great question. Now, our positioning as a supply chain platform is middleware. So we're looking to bring in all the disconnected nature, which is supply chain. So when you're working with so many different parties, so many different stakeholders, whether it's obviously a buyer and a seller, but you have your customs brokers, your shipping companies, different border officials, whether you're importing into Canada or into the States, you have all different compliances you have to deal with. So all these different parts and pieces of the supply chain are disconnected. At the moment, the way it works is companies have to do in a manual sense, provide documents as needed, communicate with all these different stakeholders. So we take all these disconnected parts of supply chain and put them together into a seamless automated system. Now, VChain is doing some amazing stuff, really impressive project. They have their own blockchain. They have a VChain toolkit as well, which allows them to do some great functionality. So our view as a company and our positioning as middleware is to bring in all these different technologies that are available out there. Companies, for example, that are using VChain's blockchain or using their toolkit. Let's say they're interacting with another company that's using a completely different blockchain. We would be that middleware layer interacting with both. Let's say it's Ethereum for that other company and VChain. Pull data from one blockchain, right into the other, and so on and so forth, back and forth. Make sure all the data makes sense and interacts with each other, making that data actionable. So once again, it's our positioning as middleware. We're not looking to reinvent all these different wheels within supply chain. We're not developing our own blockchain. We're not manufacturing our own toolkits or IoT devices. We have amazing partners. We're very proud to work with these amazing companies out there. For IoT, for example, the partners that we have, such as Hanha, AT&T, Telefonica, for telematics devices like Geotab, which is the largest telematics provider in the world. Very excited to work with those partners. And once again, it's our positioning as middleware, which puts us, I guess you could say, in a different position from a company like VChain, which is also doing some amazing stuff out there as well. So thank you for that. Next question. Dan, please speak regarding token utility, token value solutions for congestion. When will coin usage be applied, and is coin mandatory for usage or just an option? Okay, great. Great question. Now, plain and simple, the more transactions that run through the platform, the more token is necessary in order to notarize or validate the data on the blockchain from that supply chain interaction itself. Those supply chain transactions to be validated, to be written to the blockchain. Basically, you need more tokens, the more transactions run through the platform. And that's literally where our laser focus is in growth as a company. we're looking to increase the amount of transactions of the platform. The way we do that is with our clients. We have some amazing clients right now, amazing partners as well. But focused on the clients specifically, these are the clients that are revenue paying clients, solutions implemented, transactions running, scaling up constantly, obviously, and looking for more solutions within the companies, whether it's Federated Co-op, one of the largest 50 companies in all of Canada. They do about $10 billion a year of revenue every single year. We have a complete food certificate handling system for them implemented, and actually working on a few other projects with FCL right now with Federated. For example, Vitalcan out of Argentina is the largest pet food provider, national pet food provider in the country. They are a Morpheus.Network client, running transactions as well. So it's all about growing out with these clients, obviously signing new clients as well, and also having these amazing partners out there. When I say partners, we have various partners, as I mentioned, the tech partners when it comes to IoT or various blockchain partners, but I'm speaking specifically about the independent software vendors, the software resellers out there. So the Polaris.Network, for example, is a great example of that out in Argentina. Jorge Marcos, who obviously I consider a dear friend now, but he's also not only a client through Vitalcan, he's the founder and CEO of that company, but he also founded Polaris.Network. Obviously being impressed with what Morpheus is doing, we wanted to spread, Morpheus across all of Argentina. And he's actually our point of contact, which has us working on this project with the government of Argentina, with SENASA specifically. So once again, it's about that laser focus on the business and how we can process more transactions with the platform, which pushes, specifically what that question is asking for, pushes the utility of the token to notarize the supply chain interactions. Pushes the need for that token through the platform itself. Thank you for that. Next question. Will we get an announcement on SENASA this year? Yes. I'm not sure when that question was asked, but I'm sure it was asked before we announced our work with SENASA, with the Argentinian government. This is that phytosanitary system. If you go to our Medium page, or even on Telegram in our announcements, you can see some in-depth information about that project. Basically, it's any company in Argentina that wants to register, certify that they're using chemical products, phytosanitary products in the country, have to do so using an actual standard norm, which was released by the government, and that requires using a digital platform, and that backend platform, of course, is Morpheus.Network. So we're very excited about that work. This is a multi-year project that's just kicked off, but once again, working with the government body in Argentina, and as I've said, we have other projects with governments going on currently, as well as more projects to be implemented down the line. So we'll talk more about that later as well, I'm sure. Any news from Ben Smith's side of things? Ben Smith has been doing some amazing work, both with clients. One of the clients that we have through Ben is a revenue paying client as well. It's a Fortune 100 company in the food and beverage industry as well. Ben has also been working with a lot of other things when it comes to one of the largest privately owned logistics company in all of the United States. He has a really great project going on with them. He also looks for not only clients to sign, but he's also been great at finding us new partners, new ambassadors, new independent software vendors as well. So Ben has been working on a ton of different things. He's actually been traveling the most of any of the team members during this whole COVID period. He still made it down to Argentina, made it down to Colombia, made it down all over South America, been back in the US as well. So he's been finding a way to travel and still keep us growing, even despite the travel restrictions with COVID. So thank you for that. Next question. Can you say more on what Blockchain Guru is recruiting 25 developers for? I could talk a little bit about our work with Blockchain Guru and why they have to increase their, the amount of developers they have on staff. We have some amazing projects going on with Blockchain Guru right now. I'm sure they have other projects on the go as well, but the ones with us that I'm very excited about, obviously specifically, one is an animal management program. There's another one that's an agro traceability system as well. These actually are working directly with government bodies as well. We're very excited about those projects. And in the near future, we can give you some more details on that. Similar to how we were able to announce the SENASA and give some details on that. The right time and place, you'll hear more about that. The Blockchain Guru is just needing those developers for the projects that we have on the go, for these specific animal management and agro traceability systems. They need development, and that's why they have these guys onboarded. Also, I will say that they're in different geographies around the world, and Blockchain Guru is originally Canadian-based, so we need developers in other continents, other nations. That's why they need to hire. So Is there any more updates on the work with DHS and CBP? Yeah, most definitely. A lot of work going on with DHS and Customs Border Protection. Of course, we have various Customs Border partners, Customs Broker partners, I should say, which includes obviously Jim Maslowski of Customs Direct. Obviously, one of our partners is Geoffroy Group, which is the first customs broker in all of Mexico. Also, Dynamic Customs Brokers here in Canada. So basically, right now with CBP, people know that with DHS, we ran that pilot specifically around intellectual property rights. We're still completely integrated with the Customs Border System, that ACE system, allowing shipments to cross the border as well. So basically, it's automated workflows to push shipments across the border from Canada to US, or from US to Canada, from Mexico to US, and so on and so forth. Really amazing to have these automated systems which work directly with the Customs Border Protection. So thank you for that as well. I will mention also in the States, we have a couple of projects on the go right now, proposals out there for various grants to implement various systems in the farming industry as well. These are government related projects as well. Very excited about those, and early stages, of course, since we're still in the proposal stages. But definitely something to look into, especially with our work in Argentina and other nations. Would work very well with what we're looking to do in these parts of the world too, in the United States. So now, we mentioned a community liquidity drive before. Any updates on that? Yeah, most definitely. Once again, I don't know when this question was written out there. We did announce the fact that we have a Uniswap liquidity provider program that's being kicked off very, very shortly. All the details of that program will be very, very detailed for you. It will be released very shortly. As of right now, when I'm speaking, it's the day after Christmas. We still have not put out those great details. They will come up very shortly. So I will, tell anybody who's listening, the details aren't out yet. They will be out very soon. But I would check our announcement channel or our Medium, for example. So, in what ways has the unexpected COVID growth affected the roadmap? What have you learned from future events, as well as healthcare use cases? Yeah, listen, I wouldn't say that it's affected our roadmap necessarily. Our roadmap, from the beginning of the year, before COVID was a global pandemic, to what it is now, is still on the same trajectory. It hasn't affected our ability to sign clients or to push implementations. Obviously, a lot more of the meetings have been remote. I've been able to travel a lot less, which I haven't necessarily enjoyed, but I have enjoyed an increased amount of family time I've had during these in this past year. But I will say our roadmap is right on track. We have learned from COVID that supply chains are so important for companies. Companies need to have a robust and resilient supply chain in order to survive in a black swan event that is COVID. It's a whole supply chain issue, which we didn't have the PPEs or the at first those ventilators, durable medical equipment, which they didn't know where it was stored. They didn't have any traceability. They didn't know what was certified and tested and maintained properly. These are systems, within the healthcare industry, the supply chain of the healthcare industry, which were basically magnified during COVID. And these solutions have to be implemented. If another pandemic, does happen, or any sort of national catastrophe happens, or a global catastrophe like that, that systems will have to be in place. And I think that COVID really put a spotlight on that, which is great. Now, a lot of our systems that we have in place for whether it's animal traceability or food traceability has similar use cases in the healthcare uses as well. Knowing the provenance of your items, provenance of your masks, knowing who manufactured the mask, where they came from, the fact that they're certified, the fact that it could be used legally in the country, in a hospital, all very important and all great use cases, perfect use cases for the platform. So thank you for that. We've seen a lot of pilots and partnerships. At what point will this reflect more demand for the token? Yeah, I think that speaks to our focus on increasing the amount of transactions through the platform, which will just increase the demand for the token. A lot of the pilots we had done early on, I'd say even last year, a couple years ago, were more about battle testing the software itself, battle testing our functionality. We're now, when it comes to pilots that we've run, it's specifically for clients that are requesting these solutions. So we're not just testing out the functionality itself. We now know what we can do. It's now about implementing the solution, and that pilot is a solution that works for a specific client. It's basically about getting those solutions implemented, and we are scaling up as we speak. I'm very excited about the current projects we have, the current clients, the current partnerships that we're implementing. And I do think that 2021 is going to be a fantastic year for increased demand of transactions based on these implementations as well. So thank you for that. Next question. Can you talk about what you're currently working on with Baseline Protocol? Yeah, most definitely. Once again, with Baseline, we've spoken about this a few times. It's related directly to that cross-border system that we have with CBP. So when you have a buyer and a seller, there's all these different parties involved, your transport company, your customs broker as well. You want to make sure that all these different stakeholders within a shipment are singing off the same song sheet, basically. So that is where Baseline comes in when you have sensitive pieces of information that multiple parties have to view. That being able to baseline it on the blockchain, it's a great functionality. So we've been doing some great work with Kyle Thomas and Davin Jones from Provide Services, as well as Stefan Schmidt from Unibright, that Baseline connector, connecting to our platform. It's just a great use case for supply chain and for Baseline as well. I would say also just, sort of brainstorming that this project with Sanasa is another great candidate to be Baseline as well in the future. So we have lots of work to do with all these different, clients, implementations, tech partners, but also with Baseline and Kyle Thomas Provide and UBT as well. So thank you for that question. So next question, is Morpheus.Network generating revenue, and how do you plan to grow further? Love these questions on growing further. Yes, we are generating revenue. We have some amazing clients, as I mentioned. Now, when it comes to growth, it's all through these partners in different geographies around the world. I'll bring up, for example, the Sanasa project once again. I personally don't even speak Spanish. Argentina is a Spanish-speaking country. We would never have been able to land this amazing project if it wasn't for our partners down in Argentina. We have partners in places all around the world, from the UK to Australia, obviously United States, Canada, and these partners allow us to scale up. They allow us to handle all these different projects that we have on the go. It would be physically impossible for our core team to handle projects in different geographies and different languages. So our plan and what we're basically putting into motion, what we're working with, is a small core team, which is agile and able to sort of focus on a project as needed, but a very large network out there. MNSPs, Morpheus Network service providers, independent software vendors, different implementation companies and consultants pushing the product, allowing us to scale up on a global sense, while still keeping the core team small and agile. So it's been working well. All right, next question. How long does it take for corporations to implement the POC? Does the timeframe depend on the type of corporation? Most definitely it does. I would say it depends on the corporation itself, but also depends on the concept, what we're proving out, basically the actual solution. To give you an example, with Federated Co-op, that company out of Canada, huge company, they needed this food certification system implemented as soon as possible. From our initial meeting with FCL, talking through the solution they needed, we actually had it up and running in 45 days. Now that is a very unique, it's a unicorn event where we have a sort of a government, policy that's going into place, pushing ahead in implementation. So they did have a lot of pressure to get this done quickly. We always like to work quickly ourselves. I think that's one of the strengths of Morpheus itself, comparing it to all the other amazing tech companies out there. I'm not going to say that our developer base is as large as an Oracle or an IBM, but we can definitely move in a lot quicker ways, a lot more agile. Our flexibility as a company, the flexibility of the platform itself was proven most definitely by that implementation for FCL. Now, when it comes to other companies out there, initial POCs might not be the perfect solution. We might do a proof of concept, and they might want to sort of tackle a different part of the company that has a problem at the moment. So, it might take a year to actually implement a full solution. When it comes to where we are as a company, how new we are still a startup. A spade's a spade. We are a startup, and if our clients do want to take a year to implement a solution, that wouldn't be our preference. But we will work with them as long as we need to in order to get that done. And I will say that some of the larger projects that we have on the go, including working with these government bodies, will take years to implement. We're not talking a 45-day implementation to have thousands and thousands of companies on board onto the system. This will take years. But once again, as a startup, we're willing to take those years. That's why we got into this business in the first place, is to grow it out and to continue growing. And we knew that wasn't going to take a few months to do. So yes, it's amazing having projects that take only 45 days from onset to implementation, but we're okay with working a little bit harder and longer if we need to. So, all right, talks regarding potential pilots. How many pilots do we run now, which we don't know about? Once again, that it is a balance that we try to maintain between providing all the information we can about projects. There are a bunch of NDAs out there as well, which we can't just fully speak about projects at certain times. What I like to do is talk about the functionalities and the solutions, things that we're doing with those solutions specifically when it comes to those workflows that we're implementing. If we can't talk about the company, we can't talk about specifics in that fashion, we can still talk about the functionality in general. So I hope that we do give enough information for the community. If people have questions about solutions that we have out there, we're more than happy to talk about those solutions, especially if speaking about the solutions, somebody out there might be listening that has a company of their own or is connected to a network of theirs that has a company. They might hear a solution that works for them as well. So all these different automated systems and solutions that we speak about, we do feel it's a benefit for other companies down the line as well. So, all right, thank you for that. Next question. Do you have a future plan going forward, like a roadmap for the next 3 years? Yes, most definitely. Plans to expand the business. Yes, this goes right back to our small core team with these amazing partners out there. I do feel that as time goes on, the blockchain gurus, the Polaris networks, the supply chain precisions, the demand management solutions, we're taking a ton of meetings with these companies, making sure that they understand the platform, understand what they'd be implementing, understand what they're selling, what the solutions are. So as time goes on, as they become experts at what Morpheus.Network is, that becomes less of an onus on us in order to push that message out there when we have our partners doing that for us. So we're going to keep on growing out our network, finding more independent software vendors. When it comes to myself and Noam, as two founders, two owners of the company, we're not greedy. We're looking to find partners who want to keep on growing with us, and based on that, we're willing to share the revenue with them. And that's our whole motto right now, is sort of grow through partners, through our networks. We would not be able to be in the position we're in right now if it wasn't for those partners. We do see that, and that's a major part of our roadmap over the next 3 years. And you'll see projects pop up in different places around the world for Morpheus that, once again, is not tackled directly by the Morpheus.Network core team. We're definitely a part of all those projects. We're definitely in support of all those projects, but it won't necessarily be us hands-on working and implementing those projects in another continent that we're not even present. So thank you for that. All right, next question. Any positive take from the EU blockchain webinar? Yeah, most definitely. We made some amazing contacts from that webinar, specifically that European Union webinar. We have some amazing ambassadors already in Europe. Conrad Kubik, for example, some amazing partners like Henha out of the UK, and Supply Chain Precision as well, as an implementation company in the UK. It's really gonna be a great year for us in Europe with all these new network partners we have, implementing different systems. I know this is, Brexit just went through as well, so that's a huge transition for both the UK as well as all of Europe, of course. So digitizing systems, digitizing supply chains, definitely we can come in and help these different companies out there. So it's going to be a great year, and it's definitely a great webinar to take part of, and we definitely made some great contacts from that as well. So thank you for that. Next question. Since when have you been working with Sanasa? Can you elaborate a little more on the Sanasa partnership, and how big and important is it for Sanasa is for Morpheus? Yes, it's an absolutely massive deal. It's huge. I mentioned in a past interview that it's in my opinion, the biggest project in all of the crypto space, and I'm saying that is specific to the Sanasa project itself. I'm very excited about it. It's been more than a year in the making that Jorge's been working hard on it. What I will say about it is we're speaking specifically about that phytosanitary system, that chemical processing system, where companies have to register the chemicals they're using in the country, basically, be able to keep track of it all. The why do I see it so huge, right? The reason is because it's not so much about the phytosanitary system itself, which is huge. Not so much about the government implementing a system, requiring all these companies, thousands and thousands of companies across the country to implement the system. It's more so about the add-on features within these individual companies. The largest companies in the country, we're talking the Atenors, the Bayers. These companies are going to need more systems in place than just that phytosanitary documentation system. So they're growing out their digitization processes in supply chain when it comes to compliance and traceability. And right now, as we speak, we're already proposing add-on benefits to these massive companies in Argentina. So I'd say the Sanasa project, besides Sanasa itself, there's so many more, multipliers, as we like to say, within all these different companies signing up for the platform for the phytosanitary usage to have more functionality as well. So it's really going to be exciting. It's going to be a fantastic year coming up. So next question here. Can we expect similar partnerships like the recently announced Sanasa partnership? we just announced that, and these government projects, they're not so easy to come by, obviously, but I will say I'm very confident in 2021 we'll have another government project announced and ongoing and implementing. So look out for that as well. We are working in other regions of the world, other continents of the world. So similar partnerships, I'd say look out for that most definitely for Morpheus. So, what's the current status with Geotab, Co-op, VitalCan, LoadSure? Oh man, okay. All these companies, amazing companies. Geotab is our telematics partner. We have a few different projects actually we're speaking to with them as well around their marketplace, but also being a support for the resellers. So lots of stuff going on with Geotab, and we definitely see them as a multiplier. Co-op as well. That's Federated Co-op. That's FCL. That's one of those. That's that 50 one of the 50 large companies in Canada that I mentioned. Excuse me. I feel great. We have a couple more implementations going on for Co-op specifically. What's great about Co-op is that being such a large company in Canada, we have some proposals out there with some large food and beverage suppliers that aren't Co-op that see the work we're doing with Co-op and gets us through that front door. So we build that reputation within the country based on our work with Co-op and also all the different suppliers and vendors and distributors that Co-op works with. A ton of different growth, a ton of different multipliers within that as well. So tons of growth from Co-op specifically. VitalCan, once again, that's Jorge Marcos's company. That's an end-to-end supply chain implementation. They're actually working hard on that SaaS project as well. That's Jorge and his team through VitalCan. And then LoadSure, that's a new implementation. That's an insurance provider for supply chains, whether ocean or transport as well. And that's once again a tech partner of ours. We're pushing and pulling data from their digital system in order to provide insurance through our automated workflows. Having that validated data, to trigger that insurance as necessary. Definitely an awesome use case, and we're excited about working with them. They're a great team. So. And in closing, I just wanted to say, as always, I've mentioned this in the past, that I really feel that our community for Morpheus.Network is the best community in all of crypto. I wanted to thank you guys for your great support for all of 2020. It's been a tough year for many reasons for people with this pandemic going on, but we still had some amazing support from our community. So just to name a few guys specifically, we have Shan, Hugo Elvira, you guys have been amazing, Eric, Keegan, Musktard, Mard, of course, just been awesome as well. My good buddies, Drees, D. Nelly, of course, Triple Dutch, you've done some awesome work, some great research for us for Uniswap. Gotta thank you for that. DagoCon put some great posts together for us. Tomo, some awesome work. De Silva, Marius, Robin, always with the great comments. HSVGTS, you definitely helped us out with some marketing stuff as well, which is amazing. Thank you for that. We don't even ask you for that stuff. That's how amazing our community is. They just put in the work themselves. It's really awesome. I want to thank everybody who gets involved in the Telegram group, Twitter, whether it's Big D, Lot of Jizz, even Phileas when you make your comments. We know your comments, and we do appreciate it, and you do get responded to in a respectful fashion, I feel, by our whole community. So I want to also thank our amazing Telegram moderators, whether it's Magnus, Robbie, Lakshmi, and Nikhil as well. Thank you guys for your awesome work. And just to finish off, I know I've been speaking for a little bit. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for continued support. Look out for what we're doing in 2021. It's going to be an amazing year. And if it hopefully hasn't happened yet, but if it has, regardless, Happy New Year's, everybody. Thank you again. This is Dan Weinberger, CEO of Morpheus.Network, signing off.